Streaming software failure. That's going to be amazing. Okay, and we have people showing up in chat again. That's going to make my life completely terrible, turning this thing into two things, but we're just going to keep on going now. I have no idea what happened. I think OBS just crashed. OBS just crashed. Had to kill the process. Right, I was about to cut a couple of capacitor legs and I was talking about something. I don't remember what I was talking about though. Oh yeah, I was talking about what I've been doing. When I'm not live streaming, and I think I got through most of it. Just general electronics repair, yeah. That's what I've been doing. I've had to put in a decent amount of hours. We have like a little TV repair shop around here. Like a 1 to 3 man business where it was my first job. I still hang around there from time to time. Help out. And due to some guys being off duty for basically an entire year, I've had to put in a decent amount of hours there. Which has eaten into my usual work. We have a 25 volt 47 microfarad cap there. Ah! Okay. It got stuck on my glove. It's fine. PCBs are rather durable. SK says, didn't you work on wind turbines? I work on a lot of wind turbines, yes. Or rather, I bring wind turbine parts here and work on them. There are 2 major brands around here, and I work on both of them, because they both are electronic parts that sometimes go bad. So this cap we just got rid of. Obvious leakage of a negative lead there. It's a Mark-on. They always leak. If you ever see a Mark-on, just don't. Just get rid of it. Yeah, I can like literally walk 2 steps and bring you wind turbine parts. That's how many wind turbines I work on. They're just always ever present. Ever present in this workshop. I don't trust one of these. That's actually, it's ugly, but it's not failed. So we can just slap a new cap in there, even though that one had leaked. That was a 47 microfarad. Rose Electronics asks, what desoldering iron do you use? I use an Aoye A474A+. It's not very expensive, but it's absolutely good. I can't but recommend it. They do consume soldering, like the handle, it tends to fail. Like this entire thing has to be replaced every now and then because the heating element, it starts growing. And once that happens, it's actually happened to this one. You just can't change tips because this sleeve that goes over the tip, it's stuck on, and you cannot get it off without destroying the heater. and destroying the entire plastic assembly as well. And they do sell like heater replacements for them, but they're just not worthwhile because the plastic fails as well. There's no point having a new heater in it when everything around the heater is fucked. 22 microfarads, right there. Rose Electronics asks, does it suck out from tight spaces? Well, if that isn't a suggestive question. I mean, they are not good for small work. I mean, you're not gonna have a lot of joy using one of them on a laptop. They are actually decent at, like if you have a big BGA footprint or something, you can just go instead of wasting like a meter of solder braid on it. You still need to braid it because they're not as clean, so to speak. They don't clean as well as solder braid, but they take bigger volumes. And if you do lots of through-hole work, they are definitely worthwhile. Compared to like manual suckers, they actually do work on multi-layer boards like this one. 22 microfarad. OST 8900 asks, at I guess mostly Vestas and Siemens for turbines. Vestas, yes, the other one shall remain nameless. Vestas is nice, though. They're pretty basic. Like their electronic control system is very high quality. What I've seen. They just have like a bunch of failing power supplies for the most part. But of course, other funny business. And some other like electromechanical stuff, but really nice things. Annoying to work on though because they're so well built. We have, what's our next cat? Let's go like that, so we'll take this guy. 25 volt 220. That did not penetrate well. Let's see, you usually have to add fresh solder to make that work. I think we can wiggle it loose. Wiggle, wiggle. There we go. Another mark on, so let's see if it's leaked everywhere. Doesn't look too bad. Ah, that's actually fine. No leakage. 25 volt 220. SK says he's using a bovine powered solder sucker. Yes. The cow. I should just give it like a cow coloured paint job with white and black patches. What's the next one? You are 10 microfarad. We'll have two 10 microfarads there. Two 10 microfarads there. They point in the same direction. Let's just get them out. Being able to efficiently find the correct solder points on the backside of a board like this, that's a proper worksman's skill. I take some pride in it. When I was new at this, I just sat for like ages searching for the right pins. But now it's just like, oh yeah, there it is. No corrosion, no corrosion. Negative towards the edge of the board, and negative towards the edge of the board. Rose Electronics asks, do you do industrial repairs all day long? When I work, like I'm a hippie, I work as little as I can. So I could be working all day, every day, doing this sort of thing and make crazy bank, but I just don't, because I like being chill. So I usually work a few hours every other day or so. Always on call, always ready to run out if people I need. I'm reasonably expensive because of that. So I work like 30% maybe part-time. And I keep saying I'm busy because I tend to be busy all the time anyway. What actually counts as work time is a bit diffuse. But yeah, life is good for me. I'm very happy with where I am. Very happy with where I am in life. 100 microfarad, 35 volts. A lot of the time I just sort of spend working on the property and working on like life in general. I should make a video about that. I have like all these crazy gadgets everywhere that I've constructed to automate everything in like a non-internet based way. I love just making stuff automatic, using the fewest possible components. Doing stuff like the audio engine speaker repair we did a while ago, that sort of thing. I do a lot of that on my just spare time for fun. Well, I could create content about it. That's that thing that if I make content about it, it's a stressful thing. It's something I do to please others, and I need to take some time to just do things for my own sake as well. Because actually filming and putting stuff together, it is a job. It's always been a job to me. Which is a bit of a shame, I suppose. David Blastrom says, funny people prefer to pay for this sort of repairs. Here no one is willing to pay for this. Well, if you have an electric vehicle and it doesn't work, and you've paid a decent amount of money for it, it has good lithium batteries, what are you going to do? Like, the two options this customer got was either replace the entire charger assembly by another contractor who just failed to show up. They were supposed to deliver a charger and we were going to install it, but they just didn't, which would have cost a bit over €1,000. This repair is going to be like 600-700, something like that, all inclusive. So it's actually cheaper to repair the old charger, and since I do it properly, it's going to be at least as reliable as a new charger, and we don't have to change any of the engineering while doing it. So this is just a good deal. Now, lots of people wouldn't be able to do this for 600 or 700 euros because they just charge too much money for their work. But I'm one single person doing this, I can do it perfectly comfortably. this guy is another 47. I mean, if this was like a home stereo, no one would be paying hundreds and hundreds of euros to have it fixed. But it's a component of like a 10,000 euro vehicle, so it's worthwhile. Oof. They haven't done the best job bending these legs at all. You don't want to bend it like right out of the gasket like that. It is going to fail with time. Has it leaked? It has not. Rose Electronics says, it's worse here in the Maldives. These kinds of boards don't exist here. Well, this particular boards definitely don't exist, since they only exist in Finland. But I mean, if you want to find old industrial stuff, I'm sure you can. The different places have different really like attitudes towards old industrial stuff. Like the particular area where I live, people are very keen to keep using their old things because they know they work. They don't want to replace them unless they have to. So we have a very thriving industrial service sector here. Like we have a shit ton of machines from like the 80s through 2000 still in operation, live in industry, making profit every day. Which isn't always the case, because some people just keep updating their gear with like new stuff when it fails, and we just don't do that here. 20 microfarads, 25 volts, negative towards the connector. I always tell my customers to just not swap stuff out unless they really have to, because when you buy a new piece of industrial equipment, you always sign like a 5 or 10 year service contract, or even shorter than that, and once that runs out, you are shit out of luck if it fails, because when it fails, because all the newer gear, it's going to suffer stupid failures like bad flash and shit like that, corrupt software, and it might very well be impossible to repair without help from the manufacturer. And it's extremely common for a manufacturer to just basically fire the people who develop their stuff once they're done developing it, and then even if you go to a manufacturer and offer them like infinite money to get service for an out-of-date product, they will not do it, for the simple reason that they cannot support their own product anymore, because whoever engineered it is no longer there, and they don't have any contact information for them either. And that's why you should just keep running the old stuff as long as you can. I can actually, let's see if I find it. I have some beautiful pieces from the local printing press lying around here. Ah, yes. Here are some boards. Look at these. These are actually models that are still in service right now. They're going to be turning on in maybe an hour. A few of these boards are going to be controlling a printing press locally. They run every day, as they have since this one's probably late 70s, this one's mid 80s, and they just work amazingly well. They just never fail. They just keep going. Whereas all the new modern stuff in that facility, it just breaks all the time, and you often can't fix it, and you have to buy new stuff for hundreds of thousands or millions of euros. And I just say, hey, the old stuff, just give it to me. We'll make it work. I'll make it work for longer than the manufacturer of a new thing can make that work for you. I was replacing, was it 220 microfarad? I think so. I think it was a 220-25, 220-35. Well, I have a 220 here, let's just put it in the hole. David Blastron says, in Norway they just replace. I could do probably about the same as you, but no one will pay for this here. That is a shame. It is very often more economical to keep repairing your old stuff. But some people just don't understand that risk-reward calculation. But the industries here which run old crappy gear that's not mechanically destroyed, they're definitely the most reliable ones. They're the ones that just keep working day in, day out. And above all, we can keep really short downtimes on them. Since it's simple gear, you can use jelly bean components to fix it. Like if a printing press fucks up, they can just bring the board here, I'll do it overnight for them, and they'll have the board in the morning. If they go through the manufacturer's support contract, they're going to get a new part in a month. And that's just not acceptable. Right, so now we need to deal with this odd cap. It's going to be a 4763, and we're going to manufacture a 5063 by just taking two 100 microfarad 35 volt caps and put them in series. It's fine. It's fine. We need to pay some attention to how we mechanically mount this. Because there's this big connector there. Yeah, something like that is going to be just fine. Negative to positive. I think I'm going to be a dick here and just solder this together because I'm getting a very good mechanical fit there. I usually want to twist these legs together somehow, but these will be kinked legs. It's somewhat difficult to do without damaging the capacitor in the process, so we're just going to solder them like twats, basically. I'm about to rip things off the table. Oops. This is not how you're supposed to do this. The basis for every good solder joint is a good mechanical connection. This does not have a good mechanical connection. It's just a solder joint. So I'm being a bit cheeky. But I'm going to mount it down properly, and it's going to be fine. This capacitor is not going to be what causes this thing to fail the next time. The Railroad 99 says, yeah, this sucks. The more intelligent it is, the more stupid errors it can have. Bad BJs are another issue. I'm thinking the DSP chips and AVR receivers. Those are indeed a joy. Kachaturian asks, are you making a bipolar cap? No, I'm not giving my capacitors mental problems. Jeez, that would be very rude. No, I just don't have a polar cap of high enough voltage. So we're putting two 35 volt caps in series to replace one 63 volt cap. Let's just make sure it hasn't leaked all over. No, that's actually fine. It was a Panasonic cap, so you wouldn't expect it to leak. They're usually pretty good at that. I made a bit of an oopsie putting these together with the legs so far apart, but that's fine. I'll just do some creative bending. It's important when you bend the legs of a capacitor to never twist it around the gasket. You always want to keep it unrotated. It's fine to bend it, but never twist it, and never bend it too close to the case as well. The gasket where it exits the can is quite sensitive. There was a series of crud, I bent the legs the wrong way, so we're going to have to mount this on top of a chip. It's fine, but it's not what I wanted to do. It's going to go like that. Oh well. There was actually a series of flat screen monitors, I don't remember the brand, it might have been BenQ, where they just bent the leads on the primary side caps by just going chunk with something, and it just basically ripped the legs out ever so slightly, and they died in like 2.5 years because the primary side cap just leaked all its content everywhere. Cacciaturian says bunge, not gasket. Oh, you get the point. The rubber bottom. I will never remember. Bunge. This sort of mount is not okay to do with low ESI capacitors, by the way, in like a switching power supply. That would just not work well because the ESR of all these long leads would be too high, and you'd get unacceptable levels of ripple and crap. But this is not a switch mode power supply, it's just filtering for some whatever random thing. So ESR really doesn't matter. So it's fine to have a stupid setup like that. It's not beautiful, but it's functional. It's better than leaving the 20-plus-year-old original cap in place. It is better indeed. Would that be all of our capacitors? I do think so. So now we can just have a quick dig around the back, see that we don't have any terrible solder joint failures. I don't think we're going to see that, but better safe than sorry. The connectors on these actually are somewhat prone to falling off because the wires are not actually held down by anything. Oh geez, that's dark. Okay. I look pretty happy here though. The big switch, that's hand soldered. Hand solder joints tend to never fail. These are some config things. That's actually looking a bit meh. But it's a pin that's not even used. So we'll just not bother. It's easy to get lost in that, oh, I've got to resolder this, resolder that loop, and then you just do 1 million joints that didn't really need to be resoldered. It's an easy way of losing a lot of hours to nothing. I want to look closer at these connectors. Where are we? There we are. That's really looking absolutely fine to me. And you guys are seeing really nothing, aren't you? This thing doesn't really have enough light 8% at full magnification, I'm sorry. Yeah, that honestly just looks completely fine. Big power resistors, are they happy? They've been replaced. That's a redone solder joint rather. I think this board is really, it's good to go. It's fine. It doesn't need any more attention. So we want to glue down a few of these capacitors just to make them stick properly. We don't want them to be shaking off. SK says, my favourite Mr. Carlson's is when he fixes his fridge. I fix my fridge as well, I just don't make videos about it because it's like always, replace the one capacitor, then it works again. That's just not good content. Not that this is much better content. Replace the 10 capacitors, then it works again. Just a little bit of glue there. The tiny caps don't really need it. The bigger ones do though. Like so, we are done. This board is going to work just fine. It worked well before. It's just periodic service, oil change, balance of the tires. Do what you need to do to keep your things happy and healthy. So we're going to be ending the stream in a moment. Because I need to eat something. And I definitely let my fire downstairs go out. But oh well. So that's what a renovated Elcat charge control board looks like. Just new caps, nothing fancy, nothing particularly interesting at all. This thing is in good shape. We're done. Thank you for watching. Cheerio. Okay, Will's just dropped in a question last second. What range can that EV get? In its original form with like, I think it has like 185 amp hour, 72 volt lead acid batteries, it gets It really depends on whether or not it's winter. But it can get like up to 70 kilometers, something like that on a charge. But then your working battery is really hard. This one, since it's actually got live FFs, this one's actually got a bigger battery than my ENV. And this one, since it's so tiny, it can probably go longer than my ENV. I'd imagine a bit over 100 kilometers on a full charge, 130 maybe, something like that. Because they're just so tiny, the frontal area is absolutely minuscule on these vehicles. So even though they're shaped like a brick, the aerodynamic drag isn't terrible, because they're just so small. Yeah, lead acid, it's a big golf cart. With lithiums, you'll go quite far, and you can fit 20 plus kilowatt hours of lithium in them. So there you go. Take care. Oh, and K. Wills, I answered some of your questions. YouTube had decided to just hide them without saying anything because you put a link in it. Thanks, Google. Bye.